Okay, you should be comparing this with Jacob's dying blessing, what we've already looked at before. This is chapter 33, Deuteronomy. What I want to do is focus on some particulars here. And just take notice that, of course, and of Joseph he said, "Blessed of the Lord be his land, for the precious things of heaven, and for the dew, and for the deep that coucheth beneath." Now remember, Ephraim means too fruitful land, or two pasture land. Well, once again, we have this reference to these two separate lands. One is going to be that of above, and the other is going to be that of a below. As above, so too below. We're beginning to get into these connections of Freemasonry. We're beginning to get into these connections of the Sumerians or the Anunnaki and their proclamation. We see here that we're going to get a further reference to this origin of Freemasonry, which is steeped in Egyptian and biblical symbology. And for the precious fruits brought forth by the sun, and for the precious things brought forth by the moon. Now, I've showed this picture before here. And what this is a Masonic poster. And I want you to notice immediately, right here at the top, we have the sun, and then we have the moon. Now, I've told you this relates to the division of the brain. And all of this stuff, once again, is making many, many more deeper connections. But in order to keep it simple here, I want you just to understand that the Masons are exalting the precious things of the sun and the moon. Now, they're also in relation to the central eye, or the supreme being, of which we know of as Lucifer, the light bearer. I want you to keep in mind here that we have this falling star. Now, we've talked about this in relationship to the second cup, which should be Revelation 8:8, the second trumpet, which describes this flaming mountain. I told you that this flaming mountain was the same star that Jesus Christ had seen befalling from heaven that was like unto lightning. And we're going to get into that later, but I want you to see that they're portraying the same falling star. There is our connection to the sun and the moon, just topically a look at it in its connection to Freemasonry. I want you to see here that we're going to further connect this back, at least to the Masons' own word concerning the symbol of the eye, to Egypt. We're going to skip on down here and go right to this point. The origins of the symbol, meaning the eye, have been traced to ancient Egypt. No wonder, because we trace Ephraim and Manasseh back to ancient Egypt, and I'm describing to you that this is where we get this fusion of Israelite symbology with this ancient Egyptian symbology, which forms itself into Freemasonry, plain and simple. Now, we'll probably look into more of that in a little bit more depth, but I just want you to see that it's there. Once again, Moses is describing these blessings coming upon the head of the descendants of Joseph and resting upon the top of the head of them. Now, that's going to be that crown that we see being removed from the lineage of Judah, which is going to be put forth to the house of Israel, which is going to be recognized as the unicorn, just like we saw on the Iraqi dinar. We'll get further into the symbolism of the Antichrist, even having this singular horn like a unicorn. But he's also termed as having two horns like a lamb, but all that symbolism is interrelated. This is where we want to get focused on and really begin to see how all this shapes up. This is describing, once again, not just singular Ephraim, but Ephraim and Manasseh. His glory is like the firstling of his bullock, and his horns are like the horns of unicorns. With them he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth, and they are the 10,000s of Ephraim and are the thousands of Manasseh. This glory is describing the coming Antichrist, his glory, and it's describing his glory in association with this firstling of these coming bullocks. And we find out that his horns, being double, like we see in Revelation, are like the horns of unicorn, which are going to break on back down to a singular reference. We see that this Antichrist is using his power, his mystical power, to push the peoples of Ephraim and Manasseh together over the ends of the earth.